I was more looking at this particular segment called master weavers. Master weavers are intermediaries between weavers and store owners. The normal conversation is that master weavers are extremely exploitative, and the reason why cooperatives came up in early 20th century was in order to bring the weavers out of the clutches of master. So the thing is that the narrative needs to change around master weavers, because I've seen while going around that there are a lot of master weavers who are different. And as a weaver, as a producer in a local, in a village, thanks to technology, I'm not really dependent on the master weaver to create new markets for me. So the world has changed. The world in which the handloom products are made and consumed are completely changed, but we still have this very old opinion that master weavers are extremely exploitative. If that is the case, then can we assume that those who are working for a master weaver get lower price than those who are working for a cooperative or for an NGO? It isn't really that different. So then why are we demonizing these sets of people? And then actually it was not that thought that led me to understand. It was more in terms of 65% of the handloom market passes through handloom weavers. So for the fact that they're supporting thousands, millions of weavers, they should be doing something right. So I was just trying to figure out, like, talk to them, understand their business from their perspective, and see how have they influenced the ecosystem. So if you look at Pochampalli, is an outcome of a master weaver. Look at Uppada, outcome of a master weaver. So it's not as if master weavers have not created wealth in those local economies. They have. Look at Mangaluru. They have been instrumental in creating space for more weavers to become master weavers. When I started my research, there were 10 master weavers in Uppada. If I go now, there more than 200. So where did others come from? They were weavers who elevated themselves to be master weavers. And then, so who started weaving? So different communities started weaving. Fishermen started weaving. People who were from another vocation started weaving. So the system is democratic in its own way, right? So I feel we need to work with systems all over. So it's not as if they are that exploitative anymore because the world has changed. It's not as if the weavers are that powerless these days because they can directly connect to the customers. So I think what we should do going forward is look at ways in which we connect weavers to customers or connect producers to customers directly without any intermediary. Social enterprise is an intermediary, NGO is an intermediary, cooperative is an intermediary, master weavers is an intermediary, they're intermediaries, they're market intermediaries, and then there are aesthetic intermediaries even. So I am telling you what you need to weave. You don't seem to know what you need to weave. So that's what a lot of aesthetic intermediation as well. So in a way, we are saying that this is good design, this is not good design. So we need to reorient what we think is good design has to come only from urban areas. That's not true. So in order for the producers to understand the markets, they need to connect to markets themselves. And with technology, it is possible. With Google Pay or Beam and WhatsApp and Facebook, it is indeed possible for producers to connect directly to the consumers. And I think that is what is going to create a lot of wealth in the rural areas and a lot of knowledge in the rural areas.